Hello and welcome to everyone to this talk of the ANH Fridays. Today, we will have our workshop number 17 that is called Recent Discoveries in the Colombia, Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico, Analogies and Prospectivity, today, June 10th of 2020. This will be presented by Iván Darío Olaya. So, as mentioned before, today we got recent discoveries into the Colombian, Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. Next week, on June 17th, we'll have our workshop number 18 with prospectivity of the Cenozoic units from the Upper Magdalena Valley presented by Universidad Nacional de Colombia. Afterwards, next week, on June 24th, we have our ANH workshop number 19 that is called Seismic Interpretation in Areas reserved by the ANH, the Nueva Granada Seismic Survey acquired in 2018, and the Lower Magdalena pilot as well built last year by the ANH. We will be giving as well details for financial help to postgraduate and last year students by MinCiencias on the 24th of June. So please be aware of that date for more information if you're interested. And as well, data free for research into frontier areas by the Colombian Geological Service. So we have as well presented different areas to be nominated by companies. So there are areas identified for interest to be nominated. We have gas and condensate, we have light oil, medium oil, and heavy oil. So far, there are 24 areas identified. And in this link that will be given afterwards in the chat session for if you are interested into research or into looking in another time, the different presentations that have been presented during this year by the ANH. So, as mentioned, today we have the pleasure to have with us Iván Darío Olaya Lopez. He is a geologist from the UIS. He's got a Master of Science in Geology from Colorado School of Mines. He's Master in Business Administration from Universidad de los Andes. He's a specialist in exploration geophysics from Colorado School of Mines. He's a specialist in high management from Universidad de los Andes. He's a specialist in international management of hydrocarbons from Universidad de los Andes. He got a huge working experience that started in Ecopetrol for 17 years, Ocol 2 years, Pacific Rubiales for 8 years, and Manzarobar Energy for 5 years. He currently is an independent international consultant. He's got as well a volunteering as president of the Asociación Colombiana de Geólogos y Geofísicos del Petróleo from 2010 to 2011. He's been director of the Scout Group, professor and lecturer on topics such as seismic interpretation, advanced petroleum geology, and sequence stratigraphy in various geology faculties in Latin America. He's as well author of Cycle Conference on Seismic Tour through several sedimentary basins in Latin America. And he's as well visiting geologists for the APG in Latin America and the ACGGP. So next week, we'll have the prospectivity of the Cenozoic units from the Upper Magdalena Valley presented by the Universidad Nacional de Colombia. So I'll give the stage now to Iván Olaya to this amazing presentation.
Thank you, Daniel. Let me share my screen. Okay. Have you seen my screen? Daniel.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. Welcome to Miguel and Daniel for the invitation for today. Today, we will have a different conference. During the last 2 or 3 years, we have seen several conferences about the prospectivity of the Caribbean or the Caribbean basins in Colombia. But we know that in the Caribbean basin, the information that we have is very little, especially the information for wells. The number of wells that we have in that huge basin is very little. And then some of us, we started to look for, to research for analogs, well analogs for the Caribbean. That's the result of that research is the presentation for today. Okay, let me start. Okay, Just a short disclaimer, all the information that I put in this conference, in this presentation is public. The interpretation are regional, no in detail or another responsibility for me. Probably the companies has more confidential information that I don't have. That will change the interpretation, but all the interpretation that you will see here is with the public information. And of course, here the intention of this conference is to show a regional or analogs or regional guidelines, no exact location for prospect. The agenda for today, we will start with a short introduction with the objective of this conference and some the play concept that are identified in the Caribbean and the history of the discovery during the last 10 years in Mexico. And then we will start doing the analogies between the Colombian and some selected discoveries or selected fields in Mexico that can provide information or can provide additional information for the place that we have in Colombia, in the Caribbean basin. Look at here you have the list, some of the place that Victor Ramirez mentioned it like 1 month ago in that spectacular presentation that Victor Ramirez did like 1 month ago. I took the main place that he mentioned it in his conference, and I look for analog for each of that place. And at the end, we will finish with a conclusion and some recommendations. Okay, what is the objective of this talk? Is search for analogs for the place identified in the Colombian Caribbean. As you know, in the most of the place identified in our Caribbean basin, doesn't have a well that can provide information about that place. For that reason, we started a search first in Latin America, from Mexico to Argentina, looking for analogs for that place. Probably later we will move to that search worldwide, looking for analogs that can help us to better understanding of the different places that we have in the Colombian Caribbean. This is the list of some of the places that Victor Ramirez mentioned it like 1 month ago in that presentation. I recommend that presentation; they're really good. And I selected some of the place. I mean, probably not all the places are here because we have just 1 hour conference that to show analogs for all the places that will take more than 2 hours. And I put here the reservoir age examples in Colombia, and look at the analog that we will see today in this conference. For example, for the fault belt structure, for me, my personal opinion, SAMA is a really good analog to understanding the Kronos, Gorgon, and Purpurania. We will learn some tips from SAMA that we can apply in the exploration in all that Sinu offshore basin. For Kalasu, I like it Trion. Trion is one of the huge discoveries, and is the trap is similar to Kalasu. For Ballena, Isachi. Isachi is you will see is a very nice rich carbonates traps. Wow, the seismic image is impressive. For Santa Ana, I like it Cauchi. You will see why. And Cauchi is also a huge discovery, and is also in the Veracruz basin. For Mapale and Cartagena, For Miocene Pliocene channel complexes, I selected Overtura. Of course, we will see in detail each of these analogs and what we can learn from that. In Mexico, they don't have too much mud diapirs. They have more salt diapirs, and that I selected Miston as a best analog for that plate. For remnants, for soil rocks in Mexico, they have Jurassic and Mesozoic soil rocks. But some remnants are the best analogs are in Veracruz. Listri faulting of civics. You will see the structural configuration for civics is similar to that structural configuration that we have in the Guajira offshore. And of course, for Miocene and Pliocene programming sequences, we will see Veracruz Basin. They have a lot of fields, gas fields, probably biogenic gas associated to this programming sequence in the Veracruz Basin. We will see each of these analogs in detail in one moment. For what is the database that we have to select the analogs? Here you have the last 10 years discoveries in Mexico. That's a lot. That's a lot of discoveries. Of course, look at the 3P research. Some of this information is from CNH. That is the equivalent to the ANH in Mexico. Some of this information is from Pemex, and some of this from IHS. Here you will see in different colors the discovery from Pemex, that is the green ones, and in blue for private companies. Of course, the private companies started to have discoveries almost 5 years after the first bid round in Mexico. The first bid round was around 2012, 2013. And look at that, the field discovery was almost 4 or 5 years after in that block that were awarded in the 2012. And look at the first discoveries from that big rounds. Of course, we will talk about Sama. Sama is one of the biggest discoveries in the last years in Mexico. We also talk about Ixachi. It's from Mexico. It's a really nice trap, similar to Ballena. The Ixachi for me is analog for Ballena, and also for probably Orca, that because it's a reef or a carbonate platform similar to Orca also. One more from here. We will talk about Miston. That is the analog for the mud diapirs. Remember, in Mexico they don't have mud diapir; they have sand diapirs. But the structural configuration and the reservoir age, the reservoir lithology are similar to the mud diapir that we have in our Caribbean basins. Here you have the same discoveries, but you have here the main reservoir that is accumulating hydrocarbons in each of these discoveries. You will see that before 2012, the main discoveries were associated to Jurassic soil rocks, to Cretaceous, to that breccia, the Cretaceous breccia in Mexico. But in more recent years, I mean, in the last 10 years, there was like a switch in the exploration discoveries in Mexico, and they started look at that during the last 10 years, they started to have discoveries in recent rocks. I mean, when I say recent, it's Miocene and Pliocene and Pleistocene rocks more than in the Cretaceous and in the Jurassic. Of course, all the okay, let me explain the colors. The dark blue are associated with deep waters. In dark blue, you will see triol. We will see the detail of the discovery, because it is, for me, is similar to Kalasu. The trap geometry is identical to Kalasu. Also, now explorations, all the discoveries in the deeper Gulf of Mexico. The light blue are associated with shallow waters. Shallow waters mainly in the Sureste Basin. Some of them also in Veracruz or in Lacache, but mainly in the Sureste Basin. More of them are associated to look at to Miocene reservoirs. Of course, Sama, that is that huge discovery that I showed you in the previous slide, is also associated with shallow waters, and is also producing from Miocene reservoirs. And of course, the brown color is associated with onshore. And look at the main onshore discoveries are associated with that traditional, to say something, the traditional Cretaceous breccia, and also Jurassic. Some of them associated also to the Jurassic salt rock, that is the Pimienta Formation, that is one of the most important salt rock in the world. Then, having this information in mind, we will start with selected some of these discoveries, and look at the analog for most of the places that we have in the Colombian Caribbean. Then let's start with that comparison, that analysis between Mexico and Colombia. Then let's start with Gorgon. Gorgon is, as you know, Gorgon is one of the discoveries that we have in our Caribbean during the last years. I took this from the presentation from Ion. They say 6 TCF is a really huge discovery. I mean, if in comparison with, for example, with Chuchupa, in Chuchupa we have like something like the original reserve was something like 4 tiras. That means Gorgon is bigger than Chuchupa. That's an important point. And I like it this slide, because Ion showed a flat spot in this area. interesting for the analog for Sama. Look at that. Some characteristic for Gorgon. The reservoir are the water sanction, probably turbidites. Reservoir age is from late Oligocene to Pleistocene. For me, it's more upper Miocene to Pleistocene. I mean, it's recent rocks. The trap type is as Victor mentioned it in this presentation, is a faulty monocline against the front of this sinew deformed belt. Look at the water column is 2,000 meters. That's, remember that from 2,000 deeper than from 2,000 is deep water exploration. The total depth, and look at the hydrocarbon type. I put gas, but probably some condensate can be. I don't know if in the Gorgon 2 they will do a provision test. I don't have that information, and I don't have information about the net pay or the reserve information. Then let's look at the comparison with Sama. In Sama, look at the structure of Sama is also a trap, faulted monocline, also associated with a fall in this area. Also, look at the comparison. The reservoir lithology is also deep water. I mean, it's also turbidites. The reservoir age is also upper Miocene. I mean, we can learn from Sama some characteristics like, for example, petrophysical characteristics. I put here, okay, later I put here what is the porosity that we expected in Gorgon using the analog with Sama. The water column is less than Gorgon. It's very less than Gorgon. It's more similar to Orca. Orca, I don't remember exactly, but Orca is around also 100 meters of water column. Look at the total depth for Sama is less than Gorgon, but can be comparable. But in Sama, they have light oil and gas. Light oil is 28 degrees. Look at the petroliferous net pay that they have is 200 meters. That's 600 feet. That's a lot. That's a lot. And it's one of the memories in Sama is if that net pay is true or not. We will see that later. And look at the reservoirs. The reserve that they have, or they are mentioning in this trap, is 800 million barrels of oil, light oil. I mean, for me, it's a good comparison. It's a good analog between Sama and Gorgon. Then let's look Sama in detail. What we can learn from Sama to apply to Gorgon. Look at for me, this is one of the best examples for flat spots. Here you can see this as Talus was the operating company during the discovery. Look at the flat spot that is present in this presentation. I mean, one conclusion from here: we need a really good quality of seismic, and we need especially a special processing to see this kind of features like a flat spot. But look at for Sama, look at how is the structure map for the in this case for the upper Miocene, the reservoir in this area. Look at that. The flat spot is in conformance with the structural map. I mean, it's a perfect match between a structure, the structural map, and that seismic amplitude anomaly. It's a book example, as you can see here. For example, we can do this in Gorgon. In the presentation, I saw the structural map, but not I haven't seen the concordance between the structural map and the seismic anomaly. Is interesting to apply that kind of example or that kind of analysis from Sama to Gorgon. One more, and look at how to look for additional prospectivity. They are using that special amplitude treatment in the seismic to look for another or for more prospectivity in the area. They look at that the structure of Sama is in the upper part, and they found another amplitude anomaly lower in the lower part that is they call the Marte prospect. The Marte is a prospect. It's not the Marte prospect in the lower part of this structure. What we can learn from Sama. Look at for example, look at the development strategy that Pemex and Talos are using in this discovery. Look at that in the second well, they just tested the oil water contact. Look at that, the Sama one was here, and in the Sama 2, in the northern part, they just tested the oil water contact and the existence of the matter prospect, but they didn't take a flow test in the second well. Just in the third well, they do a flow test, and look at they got almost 8,000 barrels per day, 94% of oil. I mean 6% of water. But it's interesting. It's something like in the Sinú offshore, because they didn't get flow tests in the first wells. I don't know if in Gorgon 2 they are probably taking a test for that flow. But it's interesting. I mean, I was asking why they didn't test. They didn't do a flow testing in Gorgon, in Polandia, in Kronos, but it's similar than the strategy that Pemex and Talos are using in Sama. The flow tests are probably in the third well or in the fourth well in that structure. Of course, in the Sama number 3, they tested the lateral continuity. Look at the Sama 3 was in the southern part and tested the reservoir continuity. Remember that here we have turbidites. No, we have deep water deposits, and in that deep water deposit, one of the main risks is the lateral continuity of the reservoir. And in Sama 3, they were testing if the reservoir is continuous laterally in this area. Look at that. The research certification for Sama is between around 7,000 million barrels to more than 1,000 million barrels. Wow, this is a huge structure. What we can apply from Sama to the Sinú offshore prospectivity. Look at this. This is I took this figure from the presentation that the ANH did last year. Of course, look at that. The formation thrust is one of the main prospective area, because remember that Gorgon is a faulted monocline again the front fall of the Sinú deformation belt. And look at what we need to do here. As in Sama, we need the structural map, and we need to put over that map the seismic amplitude analysis to see if all the structure is filled with the hydrocarbon, or just part of the structure, as in Sama, as just part of the structure has a hydrocarbon, has a gas or hydrocarbon in that structure. That is, remember, just not the structural map. Also, the seismic amplitude analysis is needed to test if that the structure is filled with hydrocarbon. That's one of the for me is one of the lesson learned from Sama to Gorgon. Okay, let's move to the second one, carbonate investment heights. As Victor mentioned, the best example in Colombia is the Ballena field. The reservoir lithology are mainly carbonate. Look at the impressive seismic image for that trap. The reservoir age is late Oligocene to early Miocene. The structure type is a four-way closure. The total depth for Ballena is around 7,000 feet. And the hydrocarbon type is gas. It's mainly gas. I don't know if that's biogenic or thermogenic gas. I don't know. It's not my specialization in that. And then, for me, Isachi is a really good analog with Ballena. Also, look at Isachi. The reservoir lithology is carbonate. Is a pore. They mention it as a pore carbonate. Look at that. Look at that. The seismic imaging is showing the risk will up in that area. Interesting. Remember that the reef are really good reservoirs because they have a impressive or a really good petrophysical parameter. We will see that later. The reservoir age is different than Ballena. It's about here you have tertiary, but the trap type is also a four-way closure. The total depth is deeper than in Ballena. Look at it's 26,000 feet. It's more than the deepest well in Colombia. The deepest well in Colombia is probably the Plato Profundo or the Arauca 4. It's around 21,000 feet. Look at that. This Isachi is 26,000 feet. Also, the hydrocarbon type is like oil. It's no gas. But look at this. It's at 42 degrees. It's a really good oil quality. The reservoirs, the reserves that they have, the reserve that they have for that structure is 20. It's around 250 million barrels. And look at this, 2,002 teracubic feet. It's a really huge structure. And of course, the seal. Look at the most important point in this structure is that they have more than 2,000 meters of seal or shells sealing this structure. Okay, let's see Isachi in detail. That we can learn from Isachi to apply in our Caribbean basins. First, look at the geometry. The geometry of the trap are not as really continuous as we saw in Gorgon. That in Gorgon in the Sinu offshore we have more than that's more than 50 kilometers really continuous structure. Here, this type of traps, this kind of place are more limited in the extension. Look at this is a huge field, and it's just 46 square kilometers. Okay, just now that's a really huge structure. They also have, look at it, they also have a small structure or a small carbonate platform, carbonate configuration in the southern part. They don't know exactly if they have hydrocarbon in that southern part. This is similar to, I don't know if you remember the Orca configuration. Of course, Orca is not a carbonate reef, but the geometry for the Orca the structure is similar to the Isachi discovery. I don't remember exactly the area for Orca. I remember probably it's something like 20 square kilometers. I mean, Isachi is like a 2 times Ballenas and 2 times Orca. What we can learn from Isachi to Colombian to our Caribbean basin. Look at the producing level is associated with this Cretaceous limestone. They have more than 3,000 barrels per day and more than 28 million cubic feet per day. But look at the for example, the petrophysical parameter for this type of reservoir. Here you have the porosity from 0 to 20%. And look at that, the porosity that they have in this huge structure is no more than probably 10% of porosity. I mean, it's between probably what 6 to 10 porosity percentage in porosity. I mean, it's a huge structure, huge reserves, but the porosity in this kind of reservoir is between 6 to 10%. Remember that in Sama, I didn't mention it, in Sama they have more than 20% of the reservoir is a complete different reservoir. Here you have carbonate, there you have turbidites, and that's one of the most difference between these two type of pairs. Okay, let's move to the next play. Victor called it structural sleep structure. And the example for this play is Karasu. Karasu, of course, look at you know the characteristic for Karasu is also deep water sandstones. The reservoir age is Miocene to Pliocene. The trap type is positive strike sleep structure. You can see here the geometry in the side is a really nice structure. The total depth for this well was more than 22,000 feet, and the water column, wow, is huge. I mean, it's more than 2,000. That means it's an ultra deep water exploration. And I put here the hydrocarbon type is probably gas. I'm not sure if they collected some gas chosen in that well. Okay, what is the analog for Karasu in Mexico? For me, it's triangle. Triangle, look at the structure is also as in Karasu, is also a positive strike sleep structure. It's and look at we will see later that the reserve for this structure is really huge. Similar to Karasu is a deep water sandstone. Also tertiary age sandstones. In this case, is the Wilcox rock. The people that is familiar with the exploration in the Gulf of Mexico know that this is one of the most important reservoirs in this area. The same trap type, and look at the total depth is similar to Karasu, is 20,000 feet. Here is 22. The water column are similar. Look at that. It's more than 2,000 meters, like in Karasu. But look at the hydrocarbon column that they have there, 320 meters. I mean, this is more than probably 7,000 feet. It's really huge. And look at the porosity that we can learn. What we can learn from Talion to Karasu. We can learn, for example, the petrophysical parameter that they have there is between 18 and 25 percentage of porosity, and the permeability is not as good, but is not as bad. I mean, 250 millidards is a really good permeability in this kind of structure. Okay, that's all for trial. I didn't put here the reserve, but It's a really huge structure. It's more than, I don't remember exactly, it's more than 500 million barrels of oil in this structure. Okay, let's move to the next play that Victor Ramirez mentioned. It's the on-laps against basement heights. And Victor said that the best example for this place in Colombia is Santa Ana and Chimare also are really good place or example for this place. Some characteristics for this place, the reservoir are sandstones. I don't remember exactly, but they say that probably are fluvia, are deltaic sandstones in Santa Ana. That sandstone are Oligocene in age. The trap type, of course, is an on-lap against basement. It's a really shallow structure. It's around 4,000 feet, and the water column is more than 100 meters. And the hydrocarbon type that we have in Santa Ana is gas. What is, for me, what is a good analog for Santa Ana is Cauchy. The Cauchy field, look at the Cauchy field, is also associated with fluvial sandstone, or no, in Cauchy are more deep water sandstone. Look at the reservoir age is upper Miocene. I mean, similar to the, more or less similar to the Oligocene that we have in Santa Ana. Also, the trap type is on-lap against basement. The total depth is similar to Santa Ana. I mean, it's around 6,000 feet. It's onshore. It's in the Veracruz Basin. I mean, it's onshore. That means it doesn't have what I call it. And also the hydrocarbon type is gas. What we can learn from Cauchy to Santa Ana? First, look at the amplitude anomalies in Cauchy that allow us, or allow Pemex, to identify what is the net pay. And of course, look at I just took on in the horizontal the seismic to see the comparison. What we need to do in Santa Ana for the lesson learned from Cauchy, I will do a seismic amplitude analysis, look at as in Cauchy, to see if we can identify like probably a flat spot, or probably what is the area impregnated with gas. Look at it also in Santa Ana, we have some amplitude changes, amplitude anomalies, probably associated to gas, or in this area, look at the change in the amplitude. But we need to do like a very good amplitude analysis. I don't know, probably more specialist seismic interpretation, like a spectral deconvolution, AVO, I mean amplitude, seismic attributes, pre-stack seismic amplitudes, to see if we can identify some amplitude anomalies as in Cauchy. That's a learning lesson from Cauchy to Santa Ana. And also the how is the structural shape for this type of place. Look at the amplitude anomaly, the seismic section that just saw in the previous slide is located here. Then you have the amplitude anomaly in this area, and in the upper part, look at that. Probably you have additional levels, additional sandstones with also gas accumulation, and they call this. Look at that. They have all the probable reserves in this area and the possible reserves in this area. I mean, 2P and 3P area reserves in this kind of structure. I put here the gas composition for Cauchy. It's similar. I didn't put the Santa Ana, but it's similar to the Santa Ana. I mean, most of them, most of the composition is associated with methane. I don't know if in Santa Ana we don't have ethane, propane, butane, or pentane. But this is for my poor geochemical knowledge say that this is more associated with a thermogenic and no biogenic gas in this kind of structure. Okay, next play that was mentioned, it was identified by Victor Ramirez in his presentation, is associated with myosin-pliocene channel complex. Victor mentioned it, Mapale, as a good example for this kind of place. Are associated with deep water sandstones. The reservoir age are Miocene and Pliocene. The trap type are more complex channel complexes. In this, for example, here in the lower part of this small basin, and the hydrocarbon type that we have or that we expected in this kind of place is mainly gas. Then, my personal opinion, the Obertura field is similar to Mapale. Look at the field characteristics are similar to Mapale. Also, deep water sandstones, lower Pliocene reservoir age in this in the upper part. Also, channel complexes. The total depth is deeper than Mapale. Is almost 2 times deeper. It's onshore. I mean, doesn't have a water column, and also the hydrocarbon type is gas. Probably the okay, I didn't put here the gas composition, but probably is mainly biogenic gas in Obertura. Also, you can see the amplitude anomalies associated with this field. Here you have they are producing almost 3 million cubic feet. This is million cubic feet per day. Okay, the porosity, the pressure is there. But let me show you how is the anomaly map, the amplitude anomaly map for this Obertura field. Is more irregular than for example in Sachi or in Tryon or in Sama. That means you need a really good or very detailed amplitude anomaly map to map exactly how is the channel trend in this kind of structure. Look at that, the Obertura was drilled here, but the best amplitude anomaly is located a little bit in the northern part. They are considering the proven reserve in this area and the probable reserve in this area. Okay, I put the gas composition in Obertura. Look at this. Is mainly methane, as in the Caribbean, in the Colombian Caribbean. But I don't know exactly the composition for Orca or Kronos or Purple Angel but to do the comparison with Obertura. But for me, again, probably this is associated with the thermogenic gas. Okay, let's move to the next one. The mud to the next slide. Mud diapir entrainment features. As Victor mentioned it, these reservoirs are mainly Pliocene in age, are more associated with the deep water sandstones. Okay, of course, the trap types are mud diapirs, and the expected hydrocarbon types in this place are mainly gas. In Mexico, they don't have too much mud diapir, but they have salt diapirs. This is the structure of limestone discovered by Pemex in the Suez Basin in Cuenca Sureste. Look at the trap parameters are similar to the mode that we have in the Caribbean. Are also the lithology are also sandstone associated with the deep waters of porphyry turbidites. The reservoir age are Pliocene, similar to the that we expected in the Caribbean. Of course, the trap types are okay. There is a problem here. Salt diapir, no mud diapir. The total depth are around 10,000 feet. I mean, more than 3,000 meters. Are really shallow. The water is no more than 40 meters. But in this kind of structure, they have oil and gas. And look at the reserve. These traps are not small. These traps are 180 million barrels of oil and more than 100 gigacubic feet. I mean, are really good, a very important amount of hydrocarbon in this type of traps. Again, what we can learn from limestone to our Caribbean basin. Again, look at the amplitude analysis to see what is the extension of the trap, what is the extension, probably the extension of this gas accumulation, gas and oil accumulation. You can see here an extra fall that probably is limiting the gas accumulation in this kind of trap. But again, the specialized seismic processing and seismic interpretation is needed in this type of trap to identify the accumulation and the size of this kind of entrapments. Let's move to the next plate. Let's move to the Mesozoic soil rock remnant deposit that Victor mentioned in his presentation. I put here this slide from Carvajal. It's a really nice study that he did. Look at the proposal is a really far migration pathway from the kitchen or that Cretaceous kitchen to the entrapment. In this feature, you will see, okay, probably is around 100 kilometers migration pathway from the kitchen to the traps. Then some people can say, okay, wow, that's too much lateral migration for this kind of trap. But if you will see in the Veracruz Basin, they have also the Cretaceous and the Jurassic soil rock kitchens in the west part of the basin, and they have gas and oil accumulation, mainly gas accumulation in the east part of this basin. Look at the distance from that remnant or soil rock remnant to the gas and oil accumulation is more than 120 kilometers. I mean, it's similar to the migration distance than Carvajal is proposing in this Colombian basin. I mean, this for me, this is a really good analog for the Colombian basin. That means in the Veracruz basin they have a lot of small fields, gas fields associated with this deep water deposition in this area, and it's similar that probably the gas accumulation that we can have in this area, in this Colombian basin. The Lacage is the more distant gas field in there. We will see later Lacage, but it's more than 120 kilometers of migration distance from the remnant for these Cretaceous and Jurassic rocks. Okay, let's move to the next. I just have 4 minutes. Let's move to the next play that was mentioned or that was identified in the Caribbean, District 4, related to some. As Victor mentioned it, are more related to Miocene, Pliocene reservoir age. This is a seismic line close to that's the Guajira offshore, the upper Guajira offshore. No, this is close to the San Jose well, close to the that's the Quiza Fall. Look at that special, like District Falls with a detachment in this probably Oligocene, Eocene strata in this area. The reservoir are mainly Miocene and Pliocene, as I mentioned before, and the gas hydrocarbon type that we can expect in this kind of strata are gas. What is the analog in Mexico for this District faulting plate? My personal opinion, Civics is one of the best analog for this kind of traps. Look at that; they also have a bunch of District faulting. This is in the Solis Basin. You will see. Okay. Also, the reservoir lithology are the tight sandstones. Also, similar to the upper Guajira, the reservoir age are upper Miocene to Pliocene. I mean, very recent. The trap type are also similar District faulting. Look at the total depth for this kind of play is almost more than 2,000 feet, and the hydrocarbon type is gas. It's very interesting. Look at that. They have the production from just this area, but probably they also have gas accumulation in the other normal falls around this fall. It's a very interesting trap. It's not easy to drill. It's not easy to identify, but it's interesting to see this kind of flash. And the last one, the Miocene Pliocene plurality sequence in comparison. I took this from the Elien Benson 2008, and this is a really nice seismic line showing the plurality sequences in the Miocene and Pliocene in the Chuchupa area. Chuchupa is look, I think this is Chuchupa, and is the reservoir lithology are more associated with probably deep water or probably the take sandstone. Reservoir age, Miocene, Pliocene. Of course, trap type are as Victor mentioned, in programming and low stand and high stand systems. This is the nomenclature in sequence stratigraphy. And the hydrocarbon type that we expected in this kind of type is mainly gas. What is the analog for that play in Mexico? Again, look at the Veracruz basin. The eastern, in this case, is the eastern Veracruz basin. I mean, moving to the offshore area like in Lacache. Also, look at the reservoir lithology is similar to the lithology that we expected in the Chichupare. Also, the reservoir age are Miocene, Pliocene, as in Chichupare. Of course, the trap type are also pluralized systems, and the hydrocarbon type in this is similar, is dry gas, and the best example or the best field is the Lacache. Is the most distance. It's offshore, inclusive. It's an offshore gas field. Look at it, have more than 650 giga cubic feet and 8 million barrels of condensate. Look at the providing system is coming from the Sierra Madre Cordillera, and during the Paleocene, Miocene, and Pleistocene, they had programming sequences coming from the Cordillera, Sierra Madre Cordillera to the deep water area. This look at the play is more associated with this turbidite deposits, and you need to identify this kind of deposit, you need a very good amplitude or analysis in this area, because it's not easy to identify this kind of bodies or some bodies in this type of play. Okay, finally, conclusion and recommendation from this comparison between Mexico and Colombia. Conclusion, as you know, our Caribbean basins are frontier basins with very little information associated with well logs, for example, well information. We don't have too much well information in our Caribbean basin, and that's why we need analog, or to look for analogs in different worldwide basins. In this case, this example was with the Mexico basins. Why Mexico? Because Mexico has a really good variety of structural styles in the different basins, and in the deep water Gulf of Mexico, the shallow water Cuenca Sureste and Veracruz, and they also have a really good huge gas reserves in the Burgos and Tamaulipas basins, in unconventional. That's a convention that can be also analog for our Caribbean basin. Then that's why we choose Mexico like analogs for the Caribbean. What was the most common parameter in this new discoveries? Was new technologies, mainly associated with specialized seismic reprocessing, as spectral deconvolution, as AVO analysis, attribute analysis in general, deviated and horizontal billing. Okay, a bunch of new technologies that allows to the Mexican and to Pemex discover these new fields. Mainly seismic attributes. That's some analysis that we have to do in the Caribbean. What do we need to do in the future? First, systematic acquisition for new information, especially the new discoveries. I don't know. I don't know if in Gorgon 2 we need to collect sample rocks. We need to collect fluids. We need to collect pressure, temperature. We need to collect a bunch of information to construct or to know how is the behavior in that huge Caribbean basin. What another recommendation? Tectonic stratigraphic studies supporting in 3D. What is that supporting? Supporting means, okay, qualitative interpretation. I mean, the traditional scientific interpretation. I mean, to do structural map, post-stack attribute analysis, that coherency, seismic attributes, and that's stuff. That's good, and that we are doing in this moment. What we need to do extra, specialized interpretation. Some people call it quantitative interpretation or scientific inversion or that stuff, but that includes spectral deconvolution. Yeah. We need that kind of analysis in the Caribbean. I know that some companies like Ecopetrol are doing, but some of these special or specialized interpretation, seismic inversion. But to do seismic inversion, we need well data. That we need some analog from other basins around the world. That seismic inversion allow us, okay, you know, porosity, water saturation, lambda rho, a lot of parameters that we can get from that seismic inversion. Also, pre-stack seismic attribute, no post-stack. Post-stack are, for my students, pre-stack are associated with coherency, instantaneous amplitude, instantaneous velocity. But in pre-stack, we have AVO that are more applied for gas accumulation, like we have in the Colombian Caribbean. We also need petroleum system mapping, but we don't have enough information. That's why we need analogs from our basin. My final recommendation is to get knowledge in new technologies like robotics, because remember, we are drilling more than 2,000 water depth. Then we need robotics, we need deep water drilling, we need analysis for water bottom stability, and all that kind of study is needed to prepare for the future drilling in this basin. And finally, my proposal is for the ANH is to have a data interchange agreement with the CNH, that is the equivalent for ANH, or with Pemex, to have additional information, to have analog that we can apply in our Caribbean basins. They have a bunch of information, well logs, seismic, specialized seismic analysis, that kind of information that we can bring to Colombia, bring to Caribbean, and apply as analog in some of our bases. Okay, thank you very much. I don't know, Daniel, if we have questions. Yes, we have.
Yes, we have 3 different comments that I think I read on one of them got a question. If you want to, I can be reading it and you answering it. So the first one is from Gabriel Perez, that he commented at the beginning that Ivan, you might be missing Cholula 1.
Cholula. Yes, Gabriel. I know that Gabriel knows very well Mexico. Yes, Cholula 1 is also for me, it's also a good analog. I remember there are like a bunch of wells that we can use as as analog. Cholula 1, that could be also a really good analog for that's more associated with a probably Pliocene closure as some, but it's also Cholula 1 is also a good analog for that more for that Gorgon Kronos place. Yeah, that's Gabriel is also a good analog for our Caribbean. Next,
there is an important fact and a quite interesting fact here with a question. And Jimmy Parada said Kazakhstan, there are many fields associated with mud diapirs. Can be this used as an analog?
Yeah, Jimmy. Yes, I don't have too much experience in Kazakhstan. I did like a seismic interpretation like 10 years ago in Kazakhstan. But of course, and Jimmy, not just Kazakhstan. There are several other basins in China and how do you say that? That can also have good mud diapirs analog as for our basins. But that's good idea, Jimmy. Look in Kazakhstan for analogs for the Caribbean.
Okay, we got a comment from Victor Ramirez. We are aware that operators and ANH have more information, by the high level overview. It's very important to keep the interest in the Caribbean. Excellent presentation.
Thank you, Victor. Yes. As I mentioned at the beginning, yes, probably there is more information, confidential information in the companies, and that can help or can solve some of this problem. We will continue looking for analogs that can help to understand the gas accumulation in the Caribbean. Thank you, Victor.
Scott Granger, besides the different technologies or the different methodologies that are being implemented, he said that organic geochemistry and basin modeling, also as you're doing here, putting legacy data to work for you.
Thank you, Scott. Yes, of course. In that probably in that agreement, in that data exchange agreement with Mexico, we can ask for some organic geochemistry information that we can involve or we can use as analog for that's not my specialization. I'm more scientific interpreter, but probably we can include geochemical information in that exchange agreement. That's good idea, Scott.
And the last comment, but not least, excelente presentación, Iván. Muchas gracias, by Kurt Bayer.
Gracias, Kurt.
There is a last comment by Nelson Rojas. Thanks, Ivan, for the presentation. Some comments. The basin in Mexico are very well defined, passive margin basins with an excellent source rock for that lot of discoveries. In Caribbean, we don't know exactly what basin is, and we don't know the source rock. I think it's very risky using Mexico as an analog.
Yeah, Nelson. As I mentioned before at the beginning, Mexico are not exactly the same tectonic setting as the Colombian our Caribbean basin, but yes, they have some passive margin, especially in the northern part. But some basin can be some fields can be used not exactly the same tectonic setting, Nelson, but can be used as analog. Yes, you say is correct. Are not exactly the same tectonic setting, the same tectonic evolution from Mexico to Colombia. We can use some data, for example, some petrophysical information from Mexico to equivalent to our Caribbean basis. But agree with you, Nelson. The tectonic sections are a little bit different.
Okay, Ivan, from the ANH, I would like to thank you for this excellent presentation. As a brief reminder to all of the attendees today, remember that next week, on June 17th, we will have our workshop number 18 with prospectivity of Sinusoid units from the Upper Magdalena Valley, presented by Universidad Nacional de Colombia. And remind as well that on June 24th, we will have the ANH workshop that will have seismic interpretation in areas reserved by the ANH into the Nueva Granada survey acquired in 2018. And the Lower Magdalena pilotas were built by the ANH last year. And I'm quite sure that many of the attendees will be quite interested into the details that we give in that day for financial help to postgraduate and last year students by MinCiencias in a 30-minute talk. So, Ivan, thank you very much again, and to all of the attendees, and see you next week for the next presentation. Thank you.